we are in the garden this morning. It's a really pretty day. We've got some lovely blue sky, and it's still pretty cool. And so this winter, what I did, actually it was before winter, and I've got our puppy attached to me right now, so if you hear her barking, that's why. What I did this winter was to lay wood chips down, so essentially I mulched the whole thing. Something that we discovered today as we walked out here to the garden area is that because it's living wood chips are living, they're live trees that's been chipped up by tree companies, is that we actually have some mushrooms growing here. And that is what this puppy's trying to find is mushrooms. She's really upset that I'm not letting her eat them. And most of them are gone already, but these are ones that I haven't gotten rid of yet. Some little mushrooms. I don't know if there are any more over here, but there were some huge, I think I already got rid of them, but they were pretty big stemmed. Oh, look, right here. This is in the sun. But you see that? That's not wood chip right there. They're big. I showed them those ones. Do you need more seeds?
I just finished one row in the bed.
Okay. So Kaylin right now is planting some celery seeds, which you're actually, according to the back, it says start seeds indoors. Well, we don't have a place for indoors, so we might as well try them outside, and if they don't grow, they don't grow, and that's okay. You did 1.5 rows?
No, one in a bit.
One in a bit.
Like one seedling.
Okay. I'm just pouring some seeds in her hand. So we have the mulch. I laid it out before the winter. Probably August, July. I got them in July, so August maybe. And it's just been sitting here ever since. You can see there are some weeds that have poked through where the wood chips were not very tall or high. This bed, we've made rows. You can kind of see the difference between that bed and this bed. The rows we've made. And now Kaylin's planting celery, and then the rest of this is going to become spinach. We use spinach a lot. We use spinach a lot, so in salads, smoothies, sauteed, things like that. So it'll be fun. The one thing that I wasn't sure how to do, but now I do, I realized this a couple months ago, but haven't come out to do it, is we have this, like, fencing back here. And it's perfect for trellising. As you can see, we've got a dead vine that we didn't quite clear off last winter. But it's impossible to get mulch over here. And for some reason at the time that I had laid down the wood chips, I didn't think of this. But if I cut the bottom row off of here, so if I cut it off here, then the plants don't need this bottom rung, because by the time they need to latch on, that's how tall they need. Elisar, hi. Can you scoot this way?
Well, that was a good vine.
So if I cut it off here, I can make sure that this stays weeded, because a lot of grass grew last year, and it was really difficult because it would spill out onto this side of the trellis. And I couldn't get mulch back here because these are very, 3 fingers wide. So I'm just going to cut them off here and get some mulch down and be able to plant this year, and that'll be exciting.
I'm finished.
Okay, Kaylin finished with the 2 rows, so we're on to spinach. Well, the garden is planted for the spring. It is a little late for me to be planting here in Virginia where I live, but that's okay. It's still within the time frame. It's what, April something, and so this is what I got done. This first bed we planted with, I already forgot, my paper's already inside, spinach and something else. See, I'm doing great already. Kale? Is that the one I did kale in? No, this one has kale. So the second bed has kale and lettuce in it. I know I planted something with the spinach, I just don't remember what it is. But I know I said it earlier in the video, so you remember even if I don't. And the third bed right here, we planted beets and Swiss chard and carrots in here. So that leaves 2 more beds with nothing in them yet. And I'm going to leave them that way. I'm going to leave them open so that I can plant summer things while the spring things are still growing. And that will allow me more of a continuous harvest and less of having to have this big gap in between spring and summer things. Because it's wood chips, we had a lot of long sticks in there. I'm just going to leave these over here by our fire pit. We are having a fire this evening, and Kaylin is so excited for that. Now I have a cat in the garden space. I need to get her out so I can close it up. Hey, Jaden. Come on out. Say hi. So that is our current garden. What I got planted today. And let me show you what else I have gardening wise. Okay, so this is all protected by a fence, which unfortunately our puppy does not enjoy and has ruined it. But we had the fence, so it works out most of the time unless we are where she wants to be. So this square garden bed was an herb garden in its former life. We didn't do anything with it last year. I think that this year we're going to clear it all out and put strawberries in it. So I need to do that pretty soon. Over here, there is a little teeny plant here that you can't see very well. We're pretty sure that's a blueberry bush, but until I got the mulch down, my husband kept running over it with a lawnmower. So it's hopefully coming back this year. And then this was a free plant. We're fairly positive it's a blueberry, hence near our other one we think it's a blueberry. But even if it turns out not to be a blueberry, I'll still like it here. Over here, in this mess of a little space, they are thornless blackberry bushes and a little stone turtle. This needs some love, let's just be honest about that. These 2 plants right here, they are, we think, raspberries. They came from the same place that this little bush came from. And then along this back fence, we're growing fruit trees. You can see that some have grown bigger and faster, but that's because these are all different varieties. So I'm missing this one, and this will be an apple. This is an apple. Let's see. Apple. This one's an apricot. It's self-pollinating, so I only have one of those. This one I think I'm going to need to replace because, as you can see, only leaves are down here, and then it's like a dead stick. But that and this are pears. And this one that have lots of leaves and are growing out of control. Particularly that one's out of control. Those are plums. And they're all dwarf varieties. And I am attempting to espalier them. So that's why you see this strung out here. This needs a lot of love because I only need one going up this way and then get some out that way. So they're still very little. We only planted them last year. So that is our garden. Last year we had planted some things, but then didn't care for it very well, and it kind of fell apart. We were able to harvest a few things, but not very much. And then I have, definitely, I don't know what's below an amateur gardener. I feel like I am a Padawan gardener. I've, dabbled in the past, but I don't necessarily have a thriving garden, so hopefully this year will be the start of changing that, because I love producing some of what we eat and being able to provide that and gain those skills. Those are things that are important to me. And Kaylin is all about things that you can grow and garden. She just loves fun and new things. And so she may not be out here weeding complaint-free if ever we have weeds, but she will be involved. She has definitely been involved already with last year and again this year. She's the one who urged me to get going on the garden this year because I was stalling. I don't even know why I was stalling, but I was stalling, and she urged me to. She would ask every day. I think she's asked every day for probably 2 weeks if today was the day we were finally going to plant the garden. So today was the day we finally planted the garden. And I will come back with an update at some point. Maybe in a couple weeks when things start to show up and grow, hopefully. If you have any gardening tips, I would love them, especially about watering. I find watering confusing. It says until the ground is wet, but not too wet, but just a little bit wet. Or it says soak it really thoroughly, but how do you know? And when they're just seeds, you don't want to disturb the seeds, so watering tips would be welcome. Until next time.